Fire helped humanity survive for thousands of years. It kept us warm, cooked our food, protected us from the darkness. But in the wild, one wrong piece of firewood can turn a simple campfire into a silent execution chamber. Most people worry about poisonous plants they touch or eat. But what if the deadliest toxin never touched your skin at all? What if it entered your body through the air itself? Because some trees contain hidden chemical weapons so dangerous that the moment their wood begins to burn, the smoke transforms into a toxic cloud capable of destroying your lungs, damaging your nervous system, and in some cases, stopping your heart completely. And the most terrifying part, many of these trees look completely harmless. Some even smell pleasant while burning, meaning you could accidentally throw one onto your fire and never realize the danger until your body starts shutting down from the inside. Today, we are counting down 10 dangerous trees you should never burn under any circumstances. Pay close attention to number 3. Its smoke is so corrosive that survivors describe it as breathing vaporized acid directly into their lungs. And number 9, ancient communities feared it so much they called it the silent assassin, because the toxins hidden inside its smoke can disrupt the human heart without warning. So before you build your next campfire, make sure the wood beside you isn't already preparing to kill you. Let's begin with one of the most toxic trees ever discovered. Manchineel, the tree that turns smoke into poison. At first glance, the manchineel tree looks harmless. Green leaves, smooth bark, small fruit hanging from the branches. In fact, if you saw pieces of its wood beside a campfire, you'd probably assume it was normal firewood. And that's exactly what makes this tree so dangerous. Because hidden inside the wood is a deadly chemical defense system, powerful enough to transform ordinary smoke into a toxic airborne weapon. This tree grows mainly across parts of the Caribbean and coastal regions, where travelers sometimes unknowingly come close to it while camping or exploring beaches. And for centuries, local communities feared it for one terrifying reason. Even standing too close to the smoke could become a medical emergency. Now imagine this carefully, a group of campers trying to stay warm at night throwing random branches into the fire without thinking twice. The flames crackle normally. The wood smells slightly sweet, but then the smoke begins rising. And that's when the nightmare starts, because when manchineel wood burns, toxic compounds from its corrosive sap become airborne inside the smoke itself. Some experts believe these chemicals can severely irritate the eyes, skin, throat, and lungs within minutes of exposure. And the horrific consequence. People exposed to the smoke have reported intense burning in the eyes, painful breathing, violent coughing, and temporary blindness-like symptoms. Some survivors described it as breathing heated acid directly into the lungs. And here's what makes this even worse. Many dangerous trees at least look threatening. Manchineel does not. Its bark resembles ordinary wood, and its smoke may not immediately feel dangerous until your body suddenly reacts from the inside out. That delayed fear makes it terrifying. Now imagine smoke entering your lungs while you still think the fire is safe. That's why some regions place warning signs directly beside these trees. Not because touching them is dangerous, but because burning them can poison the air around everyone nearby. And here's the survival protocol everyone should know. If you ever suspect toxic wood has been burned, immediately move upwind away from the smoke. Avoid touching your eyes or face and seek emergency medical attention if breathing problems or severe eye irritation begin. Because with manchineel, the danger doesn't come from the flames, it comes from the air itself. And if you think toxic smoke is horrifying, the next tree contains compounds so dangerous they can interfere with the rhythm of the human heart. Oleander, the beautiful heart stopper. This may be one of the most deceptive trees on this entire list because oleander is beautiful. Bright flowers, pleasant fragrance, elegant branches. People plant it beside homes, roads, and gardens all over the world because it looks peaceful and harmless. But hidden inside every part of this plant is poison. The leaves, the flowers, the bark, even the smoke. And the terrifying part, many people have accidentally burned oleander branches thinking they were ordinary firewood. That single mistake can become deadly. Oleander contains powerful toxins called cardiac glycosides, chemicals capable of interfering directly with the electrical system controlling the human heart. Normally, most people associate poison with eating something dangerous, but oleander changes the rules because once the wood burns, Toxic particles and fumes can travel through the smoke itself. Now imagine standing beside a campfire while invisible heart-disrupting toxins enter your body every time you inhale. That's horrifying. Ancient communities reportedly understood the danger long before modern toxicology existed. Some stories warn travelers never to cook meat over oleander wood because people became violently sick afterward. Whether every legend is true or not, the science behind the danger absolutely is, and the consequences can become severe very quickly. Exposure to oleander smoke may trigger dizziness, nausea, chest discomfort, breathing problems, slowed heart rate, and in serious cases, dangerous heart rhythm disturbances. That's why this tree earned a terrifying reputation, the beautiful tree that attacks the heart. And here's what makes oleander especially dangerous psychologically. It smells pleasant while burning. That false sense of safety tricks people into staying near the smoke longer than they should, almost like the tree hides its attack behind beauty itself. Now imagine your body slowly absorbing toxins while your brain still believes the fire's harmless. That's why oleander is feared by survival experts and toxicologists alike. And here's the survival protocol. If oleander wood is accidentally burned, leave the area immediately. Avoid inhaling further smoke and seek urgent medical help if symptoms like dizziness, chest pain, vomiting, or breathing difficulty begin. Because with oleander, the smoke doesn't just hurt your lungs, it targets the organ keeping you alive. And if that sounds terrifying, the next tree creates smoke so dangerous it can blister the inside of your lungs like an invisible chemical fire. Poison sumac, the tree that burns your lungs from the inside. Most people would walk past this tree without fear. Its branches look ordinary, its leaves seem harmless. And in the wild, many campers mistake it for normal brush or dead wood ready for a fire. That innocent appearance is exactly why poison sumac is so dangerous. Because hidden inside this plant is one of nature's most aggressive chemical weapons, urushiol oil, the same toxic compound responsible for severe skin reactions. But when poison sumac burns, the danger becomes far worse, because the heat vaporizes the urushiol oil directly into the smoke itself. Now imagine breathing microscopic, toxic oil particles deep into your lungs without even realizing it. That's not ordinary smoke anymore. That becomes chemical exposure. Poison sumac usually grows in wet, swampy areas and forests across parts of North America, where hikers and campers often collect fallen wood without checking what species it came from. And that simple mistake can become catastrophic. At first, the smoke may only irritate your throat slightly, but then the real symptoms begin. Violent coughing, chest tightness, burning airways, difficulty breathing, and in severe exposure cases, the lungs themselves can begin swelling internally. Doctors have described reactions so intense they resemble the body suffering burns inside the respiratory system itself, almost like an invisible rash forming deep inside your lungs. And here's the horrifying part. Unlike touching poison sumac on the skin, you cannot simply wash inhaled smoke away. Once those toxic particles enter the respiratory system, your body becomes trapped, fighting the reaction from the inside. Now imagine sitting beside a campfire believing you're only inhaling normal smoke while toxic oils are coating your airways with every breath. That image alone is terrifying. And survival experts warn that even standing near the smoke cloud can become dangerous if exposure continues long enough. That's why poison sumac should never be burned under any circumstances. And here's the survival protocol. If you suspect poison sumac smoke exposure, leave the area immediately. Move into fresh air upwind from the smoke. Avoid further inhalation and seek emergency medical care if coughing, swelling, chest pain, or breathing problems begin. Because with this tree, the real fire starts inside your lungs. And if internal chemical burns sound terrifying, the next tree creates smoke so dangerous, some victims describe it as suffocating beneath an invisible blanket of poison. Poison oak, the smoke that attacks your airway. At first glance, poison oak doesn't look deadly at all. It often grows quietly among normal plants in dry woodland areas where people collect firewood, clear brush, or build campfires without thinking twice. And that's exactly why so many dangerous accidents happen, because most people focus on avoiding direct skin contact while completely forgetting what happens when the plant burns. Like poison sumac, poison oak contains the toxic chemical urushiol, but fire transforms that danger into something much worse. The moment poison oak enters the flames, microscopic toxin particles rise into the smoke and spread through the air itself. Invisible, floating, easy to inhale. And once those particles enter your respiratory system, your body can react violently. Now imagine breathing smoke that silently coats your throat, lungs, and nasal passages with toxic chemicals while you still believe you're standing beside an ordinary fire. That's horrifying. People exposed to poison oak smoke have reported intense throat pain, severe coughing, breathing difficulty, swollen airways, and chest pressure that feels almost impossible to escape. Some victims describe the sensation as breathing through burning cloth. And the terrifying part, the reaction may not peak immediately, meaning people sometimes continue inhaling the smoke without realizing how dangerous the exposure already is. That delayed danger makes poison oak especially deceptive. And because the plant often mixes with ordinary brush and fallen branches, campers unknowingly throw it into fires every year. One wrong branch. That's all it takes. Now imagine sitting around a peaceful campfire while toxic airborne oils silently attack your lungs with every breath you take. That image changes how you look at wildfires forever. And ancient outdoor workers reportedly learned to fear these plants long before toxicology existed, because entire groups became sick after burning contaminated brush piles. They didn't understand the chemistry, but they understood the consequences. And here's the survival protocol everyone should remember. If poison oak may have been burned, leave the smoke zone immediately. Avoid touching contaminated clothing. Rinse exposed skin carefully and seek medical help if breathing becomes painful or difficult. Because with poison oak, you don't need flames touching your body to get burned. And if airborne poison sounds terrifying, the next tree may be the most accidentally burned toxic plant on this entire list. Poison ivy. The campfire mistake that becomes a medical emergency. Almost everyone has heard the warning, leaves of 3, let it be. But here's the terrifying truth most people never think about. Poison ivy becomes far more dangerous when it burns. And every year, people accidentally throw it into campfires without realizing it was tangled around the wood they collected. That's what makes this plant so deceptive. It doesn't always grow like a large plant. Sometimes it climbs silently across tree trunks, wraps around branches, or hides among dead brush, waiting to be gathered with ordinary firewood. And once it enters the flames, the real nightmare begins. Like poison sumac and poison oak, poison ivy contains oil, a toxic chemical famous for causing painful skin reactions. But fire changes the entire danger level. The heat breaks the oil into microscopic airborne particles that rise inside the smoke cloud itself. Invisible, odorless, easy to inhale deeply into the lungs. Now imagine breathing something that your body treats almost like an internal chemical attack. That's exactly why poison ivy smoke terrifies toxicologists. Victims exposed to the smoke have reported severe throat swelling, painful coughing, inflamed lungs, chest tightness, and breathing so difficult it feels like the airway itself is closing. And the horrifying part, the lungs can react even more violently than the skin. Because unlike a surface rash, internal exposure traps the inflammation deep inside the respiratory system. Some emergency doctors compare severe cases to inhaling burning allergens directly into the lungs. Now picture this carefully. A peaceful outdoor campfire, friends sitting nearby, smoke drifting softly through the air. But hidden inside that smoke are toxic particles attacking every breath your body takes. That contrast makes poison ivy terrifying because the danger feels completely normal until symptoms suddenly explode. And many people don't realize exposure happened until hours later, when coughing, swelling, and breathing problems begin worsening rapidly. That delayed reaction creates panic. And here's the survival protocol everyone should know. If poison ivy may have been burned, leave the smoke immediately. Avoid inhaling further exposure. Wash contaminated clothing carefully. And seek urgent medical help if breathing becomes painful or restricted. Because with poison ivy, the fire itself is not the real danger. The smoke is. And if accidental toxic smoke sounds horrifying, the next tree contains compounds capable of attacking the nervous system itself. Yew tree, the ancient death tree. For thousands of years, people feared the yew tree. Ancient graveyards planted it, warriors respected it, and old legends surrounded it with death. At first glance, it looks beautiful. Dark green needles, elegant branches, bright red berries. In many places, people grow yew trees purely for decoration because they appear calm, ancient, and peaceful. But hidden inside almost every part of the tree is poison, and even after burning, that danger does not completely disappear. The yew tree contains toxic alkaloids called toxins, powerful compounds capable of affecting the nervous system and the heart. What makes this tree especially dangerous is how stable some of those toxins remain even when exposed to heat and smoke. Now imagine tossing old yew branches into a fireplace, thinking they are harmless wood, while invisible toxic compounds begin rising through the air around you. That thought alone is unsettling. For centuries, people associated yew trees with death because animals and humans became mysteriously sick after consuming parts of the plant. Ancient societies didn't understand chemistry, but they understood the fear. And once the wood burns, the smoke itself may become irritating and dangerous to inhale, especially during prolonged exposure in enclosed areas. Victims exposed to yew toxins can experience dizziness, weakness, nausea, breathing problems, confusion, and in serious poisoning cases, dangerous disruption to the heart and nervous system. That's why survival experts strongly warn against using unknown evergreen wood in fires without proper identification, because many toxic trees look nearly identical to harmless species once branches are cut and dried. Now, imagine sitting beside a fireplace while your body slowly absorbs compounds capable of interfering with the electrical signals controlling your muscles and heartbeat. That's terrifyingly invisible. And the most dangerous part, symptoms may begin quietly. Light dizziness, strange weakness, a heavy feeling in the chest until suddenly the body reacts all at once. That delayed danger makes yew smoke especially deceptive. And here's the survival protocol. If yew wood may have been burned, increase ventilation immediately. Move into fresh air, avoid prolonged smoke exposure, and seek medical attention if neurological symptoms, chest discomfort, or breathing problems develop. Because with the yew tree, the danger may already be inside your nervous system before you realize something is wrong. And if toxic smoke affecting the nervous system sounds disturbing, the next tree contains one of the most feared natural poisons ever discovered by humanity. Strychnine tree, the smoke that attacks your muscles. At first glance, this tree doesn't look dangerous at all. Its wood appears dry and ordinary. Its branches resemble normal forest timber. And in survival situations, many people would never question burning it for warmth. That mistake could become fatal because hidden inside the strychnine tree is one of the most feared natural toxins ever discovered. Strychnine. For centuries, this poison became infamous because of what it does to the human nervous system. It doesn't simply make you sick, it turns the body against itself. The tree grows mainly across parts of South and Southeast Asia, where traditional poison stories surrounding it existed long before modern science identified the chemical responsible. Ancient hunters and poison makers feared its seeds so much that even tiny amounts became legendary. And while most people think poison only matters if swallowed, fire changes the danger completely. When contaminated material from the tree burns, toxic compounds may travel through the smoke and ash itself. Now imagine sitting beside a fire while invisible, neurotoxic particles drift into your lungs with every breath. That image alone feels disturbing because once the toxin enters the body, the nervous system may begin reacting violently. Muscle twitching, painful spasms, jaw tightness, loss of control over movement. In severe poisoning cases, the body can become trapped in intense muscular contractions so painful that victims remain fully conscious while struggling to breathe. That's why strychnine became one of history's most feared poisons. It attacks the body's control system directly. And what makes this even more terrifying psychologically is how normal the fire may look while exposure is happening. No strange flames, no unusual smoke color, just invisible danger entering the body silently. Now imagine warming yourself beside a peaceful fire while toxins capable of disrupting your nervous system spread through the smoke around you. That contrast makes the danger feel horrifyingly real. And here's the survival protocol. If you suspect exposure to toxic smoke from a strychnine tree, move into fresh air immediately. Avoid touching contaminated ash and seek emergency medical attention if muscle stiffness, spasms, dizziness, or breathing problems begin. Because with this tree, the smoke doesn't just poison the lungs, it attacks the body's ability to control itself. And if invisible neurotoxins sound terrifying, the next tree looks so beautiful that many people never realize its smoke can interfere with the human heart itself. Rhododendron and azaleas, the beautiful poison smoke. These may be the most deceptively beautiful plants on this entire list. Bright flowers, soft colors, elegant garden appearance. People plant rhododendrons and azaleas around homes, parks, and walking paths because they look peaceful and harmless. But hidden beneath those beautiful flowers is poison. And most people never suspect the danger because the plants smell pleasant and appear completely safe. That false comfort is exactly what makes them dangerous. Both rhododendrons and azaleas contain toxic compounds called toxins, chemicals capable of interfering with the body's electrical signaling systems. And when branches, leaves, or dry wood burn, those toxins can become part of the smoke itself. Now imagine standing beside a sweet-smelling fire while invisible chemicals begin affecting your nervous system and heart with every breath. That's terrifyingly deceptive. Ancient stories from parts of Asia and the Black Sea region warn travelers about mad honey created from these plants because even bees collecting nectar from them produce toxic effects in humans. People became dizzy, weak, confused. Some even collapsed, and fire only increases the danger. Smoke from burning rhododendron or azalea material may irritate the lungs while exposing the body to airborne toxins, capable of triggering dizziness, nausea, slowed heartbeat, confusion, and dangerous drops in blood pressure. That's why some toxicologists warn against burning unknown flowering shrubs entirely, because beauty does not mean safety. Now imagine this carefully. You're relaxing beside a calm evening fire. The smoke smells soft and floral. Nothing feels threatening, but slowly your body begins reacting. Your chest feels strange. Your heartbeat changes. Your breathing feels heavier. And the worst part, you may not immediately connect the symptoms to the fire itself. That delayed realization creates panic. And historically, people often misunderstood why entire groups suddenly became sick after exposure to plants like these, because the symptoms appeared gradually instead of instantly. That slow attack makes these trees psychologically terrifying. And here's the survival protocol. If rhododendron or azalea smoke exposure is suspected, leave the area immediately. Avoid continued inhalation. Hydrate carefully and seek medical attention if dizziness, chest discomfort, abnormal heartbeat, or breathing issues develop. Because with these plants, the danger hides behind beauty itself. And if beautiful toxic smoke sounds disturbing, the next tree creates fumes capable of triggering dangerous respiratory distress within minutes. Mountain laurel, the silent suffocation tree. This tree doesn't look dangerous. In fact, many people describe it as beautiful. Soft flowers, dense green leaves, a peaceful appearance growing quietly through forests and mountain regions. And that's exactly why people underestimate it. Hidden inside mountain laurel are toxic compounds called toxins, the same family of chemicals found in rhododendrons, but just as dangerous when released into smoke. And here's what makes this tree especially terrifying. The symptoms often begin slowly. At first, you may only feel lightheaded, maybe slightly nauseous, maybe your chest feels off. Nothing dramatic until suddenly your breathing starts becoming difficult. Mountain laurel smoke can irritate the respiratory system while toxic compounds begin interfering with the body's normal nerve and heart signaling. Now imagine standing beside a harmless-looking campfire while invisible chemicals slowly disrupt your body from the inside. That delayed danger is horrifying because many victims continue inhaling the smoke without realizing exposure is already happening. Historically, people living near dense forests reportedly learned to avoid burning unknown flowering shrubs because entire groups became sick after long exposure around enclosed fires. They didn't understand the chemistry, but they understood the fear. And what makes mountain laurel psychologically disturbing is how peaceful it looks while causing damage. The fire glows softly. The smoke drifts calmly through the air. But inside your body, the lungs are becoming inflamed, while the heart struggles against toxins you cannot even see. Some toxic smoke exposures from plants like this can trigger dizziness, confusion, slowed heartbeat, weakness, and dangerous respiratory distress. That's why survival experts warn that beautiful wood is not always safe wood. Now imagine trying to escape a cold night in the wilderness, while the very fire keeping you warm slowly makes every breath more dangerous. That image changes how you see campfires forever. And here's the survival protocol. If mountain laurel exposure is suspected, move immediately into fresh air. Avoid enclosed smoke areas. Hydrate carefully and seek emergency medical attention if chest pressure, dizziness, abnormal heartbeat, or breathing difficulty develops. Because with this tree, the danger doesn't attack instantly. It waits quietly inside the smoke. And if silent respiratory poisoning sounds terrifying, the final tree on this list may already exist in homes, forests, and campsites all around the world right now. Black walnut, the tree that pollutes the air around it. At first glance, black walnut looks completely normal. Strong wood, dark bark, a tree many people actually value for furniture and woodworking, which is exactly why this final tree is so dangerous psychologically, because most people would never suspect it could become harmful in a fire. But hidden inside black walnut is a chemical called juglone, a natural toxic compound the tree releases to affect nearby plant life around it. And while many people know the tree can damage surrounding plants and harm certain animals, very few realize the smoke itself may also become irritating and dangerous during burning, especially for sensitive people, pets, or anyone with respiratory weakness. Now imagine sitting beside a wood fire that looks completely ordinary while airborne chemical particles slowly spread through the smoke around your family. No warning signs, no strange color, no obvious danger, just invisible irritation entering the lungs quietly. That subtle threat makes black walnut uniquely disturbing, because unlike dramatic poisons that attack immediately, this tree creates uncertainty, headaches, throat irritation, breathing discomfort, eye burning, heavy airways, and for sensitive individuals or animals, reactions may become much more severe. That's why experienced outdoor workers often avoid burning unknown walnut wood in enclosed areas or around livestock. And here's the terrifying part. Many toxic smoke reactions begin mildly enough that people stay exposed far too long. By the time symptoms become serious, the lungs may already be irritated from prolonged inhalation. Now imagine a family sitting around a peaceful fireplace, believing everything is safe, while microscopic airborne compounds slowly contaminate the very air they trust. That idea feels deeply unsettling. And the survival protocol is simple but critical. If black walnut smoke causes irritation, move into fresh air immediately. Increase ventilation, avoid prolonged exposure, and keep pets and sensitive individuals away from the smoke entirely. Because with black walnut, the danger feels ordinary until your body finally reacts. Fire helped humanity survive. But after tonight, you may never look at smoke the same way again, because the most terrifying poisons in nature are not always hidden inside bites, claws, or venom. Sometimes they hide inside the air itself. And maybe the scariest part of all is this. Most people would never recognize these trees before throwing them into a fire. One wrong branch, one wrong campfire, one night in the wilderness. That's all it takes. So the next time you smell smoke rising through the dark, ask yourself one question carefully. What exactly are you breathing? And now I want your honest answer in the comments. Which tree on this list terrified you the most? The manchineel, the oleander, or the poison sumac that literally attacks your lungs from the inside? And here's the real question. Would you trust yourself to identify toxic firewood in the wild? Yes or no? Comment below, because I promise you, after this video, most people won't feel as confident anymore. If these hidden dangers change how you look at the wood in your own backyard, please subscribe and like this video. We are uncovering the secrets of the natural world that have been hidden in plain sight. Protect your future and stay vigilant. The next discovery will be revealed soon.